Who are you? An older type of augmented human, 4th generation. Have we made contact? I am Air, a Rubiconian. Please, you must wake up. Before your consciousness is forever scattered in the coral flow.
Greetings! I have been debating with myself for the longest time which Fromsoft game truly reigns supreme. Some choices are actually the hardest to make, and believe me, this one was truly difficult. I always was gravitating towards their one-off single releases such as Bloodborne, Sekiro, and of course, in a way, Armored Core 6. Now the title gives it away, what my ultimate winner is, but I want to lay out why and how it came to pass in this video, since Armored Core 6 or AC6 has some very strong competition in the Soulsborne Sekiro lineup of From Software games. So first, who was the biggest competitor to Armored Core 6? That would be Sekiro. That game was my number one for the longest time, basically until Armored Core 6 came along. Then that game throughout the years quickly rose up to be my number one. And after careful deliberation, I do think that, yeah, indeed, I do like Armored Core 6 a little bit more than Sekiro. But they're both incredibly close, and also that means Sekiro sits at a very strong number 2, you know, it is still the second most best From Software game. Now, why is Armored Core 6 my favorite From Software game? Well, let me take you on a bit of a journey and let me tell you why I absolutely adore what the team has created here. First off, let's talk about some of the basics. Performance and some general things. My first thoughts were, am I gonna play this on controller or mouse and keyboard? Because usually I shy away from mouse and keyboard on most From Software titles, since I think without mod support their implementation of mouse and keyboard is not that good. Doesn't mean that it is unplayable, but 99% of all From Software titles I have played with a controller first and foremost, and I have never ever tried to play it with a mouse and a keyboard. But I was very pleasantly surprised that Armored Core 6 works phenomenally well with mouse and keyboard. Just using the extra mouse side buttons for both shoulder weapons, that is pretty much the only change that I made to the controller scheme. And then there was the performance. Or rather, how much FPS would this game run at? Would it be locked at 60 FPS? Well, pretty much all From Software games were until then. And again, I was surprised. The game runs well on a 120 FPS lock, and even my really old PC at the time of my first playthrough stayed at an almost consistent 100 frames per second throughout the entire game, which is impressive, seeing how big some of these set pieces are in this game. Let's talk about that one next. The sheer size of the world and some of the gigantic moving objects that you interact with during this game it's insane how well this game runs when you are literally fighting on a giant mobile mining platform, or you're running around on a huge moving set piece of an entire spaceship that is moving through the atmosphere with you, and it's all there fully rendered. Also, if you didn't notice until now, I have a first person mod installed, and if this video encourages anyone to try this mod out, I'm going to be absolutely elated. That first person mod is an iteration on an older project on Nexus, and it's pretty much an improvement on the old mod. Also, this mod was released quite recently, still kind of showing that even now there's a very vivid engagement with the modding community around this game. Try it out. It's totally worth it. It changes how you engage with the game on a fundamental level. Some things get easier, like fighting unlocked, and some things are a massive challenge. Try fighting the Ibis series, for example, in first person. That was quite a challenge. It also means that you get to look straight up at things in this game. And man, even though you're sitting in a giant mech that dwarfs tanks, helicopters and even buildings, you are still an ant, a tiny, insignificant ant compared to the megastructures in this game. Just look up at a vascular plant, for example, and just realize that this man-made structure is 1,000 times bigger than you. You are nothing compared to this structure. Once it's finished, the entire plant reaches all the way into the lower stratosphere. It's insane the level of gigantism displayed in this game, and that is exactly what we want from our mech games. We want to play giant mechs in even more gigantic megastructures. And since we're talking about the star of the show, our gigantic mechs, I want to just swoon over the gameplay and the mechanics of this game for a little while. Now, I have to shamefully admit this was my first Armored Core game. Not necessarily my first mech game, but at least my first mech game where the mechs themselves move that incredibly, insanely fast. I think it's the difference between the Japanese mech games and the Western mech games. Mech Warrior puts you in this moving fortress tank, and then Armored Core puts you in a mech that goes Mach 10. It's an absolute murder machine that kicks the living daylight out of other mechs and accelerates to full speed in less than a second. The speed of this game is absolutely what got me into it. It was a crazy experience fighting my first arena opponents and other AC units and realizing how much I could utilize the movement system in this game. Sometimes you don't even touch the ground at all during an encounter, and that is the baseline of this game's combat experience. Extreme speed and high octane fights. You got 4 weapons, left, right, 1 for each hand, 1 for each shoulder. The weapons range from conventional guns, but at a mech size, aka a giant railgun and then a huge ass shotgun bigger than a luxury yacht, to high-tech laser pulse and plasma weapons. I want to highlight all the little details in the weapon design here. The reload animations, the recoil you feel when shooting, and their sound profiles. I love how all the tech and energy weapons unfold and fold back during their charging and overheating phase. When you have a giant 12-cell missile launcher on your back, all the little missile bays and vents open up during lock-on. The bigger shoulder cannons completely flip back and extend the barrel again once the next shell is loaded. Some of the guns are almost longer than your entire AC unit. All these little moving parts and details make it look convincing and make you want to try out all of the different guns and see them in action and how all of these perform and synergize together. Are you better off pairing the same guns, or do you want to mix and match? And am I going to use laser and kinetic weapons in balance, or do I just go for one type of damage? What if I just equip 4 Gatling cannons? What if I go with just 2 bullet drones and akimbo hand cannons, the size of 2 trucks? What happens then? Now, not all setups and weapons are made the same. there are clear winners in damage and performance, looking at you, Songbirds, Zimmerman and Stun Needle Launcher. But despite that, I took down most of the bosses in this game using, let's say, unconventional setups. Also, there is a PvP mode in this game, so not all weapons perform the same in PvE and PvP, and some of them are clearly more usable in PvP scenarios. But most of these are totally usable, although there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of missile launchers in this game. Almost a little bit too many of them, but then again, you can't go wrong with more missiles, come on. And some of the handheld missile launchers later on in the game are absolutely bonkers. Then, like in any mech game, you got your components or parts you can pick, choose and build. You can pretty much mix and match heads, arms, torsos and legs however you want. Each part has many different values for defense, melee or guns specializations, stability, speed and so on and so forth. I would argue that you should experiment with what you like. It does help reading, it always helps reading, and it does help reading here through the descriptions of some of these attributes to understand them, but you can get away with just vibing it. The one thing that is important though is getting your core energy generator and your boosters down. And here I would argue actually reading what each booster value does is pretty important, as there are different boosters for each build. Yes, there are generally overall good boosters for any occasion, but in a boss fight, your booster can really help you stay on target and dodge attacks. And your generator has an effect on energy weapon performance and how many guns you can load into your energy budget. And of course, there's always a weight component. Wouldn't be a From Software game without a weight system. You can't just put the biggest guns on a lightweight AC. Smaller, more fragile leg parts can carry that much as some of the other, for example, tank treads could do. And some of these specialized arms can be overloaded if you put too much weight on them. But usually, that was never a big issue for me, unless when I wanted to build a really fast and light mech build, then you have an overall smaller weight and energy budget to work with, because your mech has lighter limbs and possibly you also have chosen a lighter, smaller energy capacitor generator. You really don't need to have a PhD in mechanics though to build a nice mech that will carry you through the game. At this point, I also want to truly highlight how much fun melee combat in this game is. Pretty much all melee weapons, with very few exceptions, are completely awesome to build around. And for melee, there's a pretty common, well-known setup that is basically a thruster with good melee boost, arms with high melee specialization, and then legs that have a high jump distance. Some melee weapons, such as the laser blade, have a light attack that utilizes your speed stats to dash incredible distances to gap close, making these melee dash builds very useful in both PvE and PvP. There's a method called dash cancelling or boost cancelling that is basically utilized using this method, but you can just use this build to do melee damage with it. That works pretty much for all melee weapons, and it also boosts the damage due to the arms specialization that you are putting on your mech. Also, there is nothing more satisfying than absolutely one-tapping an enemy AC with the pile bunker, or comboing a mech to death with the laser slicer or the laser dagger. Melee in this game is an absolute highlight for me, and I pretty much carry around some sort of melee weapon all the time. And yes, even the Moonlight in this game is absolutely peak. It's ranged melee damage every few seconds, and that is not to be underestimated at all. So that is how you build a mech. How do you completely slay out in one? Well, Armored Core 6 is built around a mission structure campaign. You go into a mission, usually it's some sort of corporal contract, and you kill some stuff. It's not that simple, but we will talk more about it once we get into the story. Basically, you get sent in and you do your job. You have a soft and a hard lock-on system. Soft lock-on basically aims at targets in your reticle's center and loosely changes targets where you're aiming. When locking missiles, you just hover over a target with your aiming reticle, and then once all the locks are set, you just let go, and all of the missiles fire. The same goes for any other locking weapon, only of course if it shoots a singular projectile you only get to lock onto one target. Speaking of one target, there's also a hard lock-on system that focuses in on only one specific target in the center of your aiming reticle and aggressively tracks it. You can imagine that is primarily used for bosses or when fighting other ACs, but it's not always the best option. I found that fighting unlocked is pretty good, even when facing certain bosses, and of course should you have to take on multiple mobile AC units or other dangerous mini-bosses, playing unlocked is likely also the better option, but it depends on what you want to do and how you experiment with the lock-on system in this game. For me, and especially with the first-person mod, I played locked off most of the time. And then there is the ACS overload system. Basically you take reduced damage until your AC is overloaded and then stunned. It's a stun mechanic, so to say. Almost like when you poise break an enemy or when you get poise broken in Elden Ring. Then you go in and do some big damage until the enemy recovers their ACS meter. Same goes for you, and let me tell you, ACS overload can be a real pain in the ass, especially when you get chain stunned repeatedly. You need to recover from the stun and let your ACS meter recover, and some of the bosses in this game take full advantage of the stun duration. You can lose pretty much 60% of your health to an ACS overload depending on how tanky your build is. But the same goes for enemies too. If you stun an AC and then hit them with a full power pile bunker, this will pretty much be almost a one shot, or the AC will need to heal after this. Bosses of course have much more HP, but even then a targeted melee attack on an ACS strained enemy hits pretty goddamn hard. Speaking of healing, you get 3 heals from the get-go, and that's it. You will be hitting certain checkpoints in the mission. Reloading at these checkpoints refills all of your supplies, including healing. In addition to that, you also get certain points in the mission where you can actively refill your AC's ammo, health, and healing kits. Furthermore, once you unlock the arena, you can challenge other ACs in virtual combat, kinda like PvP, and advance in arena ranks. Advancing in ranks gets you so-called OS chips, which can be used to upgrade stats permanently, such as your kinetic damage, your melee damage, explosion damage, your damage resistance, and then some special aspects such as the ability to equip arm weapons on your back and switching between them, a kick ability, a faster scan, a faster hacking ability. The hacking ability is basically just how fast your AC can interact with consoles and doors. In short, you advance through the arena ranks, you upgrade your basic stats, and gain some active defense and offense as abilities. And then there are of course hidden chests and mini-boss encounters all over the game, which reward gear, and in the case of mini-bosses they carry informational data that the AI Allmind will collect, and at certain thresholds rewards you with new gear. Allmind is basically just a mercenary network AI that facilitates the arena. But don't worry, we will talk about her later on, for sure. Then of course there's also PvP, which is unlocked at some point where you can fight against other ACs in online combat, either with a team or in just a 1v1 battle. And that's it for the gameplay aspect of the game. The absolute highlight here by far is the AC customization and the overall feel and performance of the weapons. The melee combat being my personal absolute highlight. Now let's move on to art style and graphics. I have heard certain people call Armored Core 6 art style and visual representation bland and uninspired, and I could not disagree more. I absolutely love the insane, what you could call overarching bridge-like platforms that you see throughout the game, you know, the network that is always on top of you, overhead. Maybe leftover parts of a planet-wide spanning railway system, some sort of transport. It's all man-made or maybe half machine-made, partially, but it looks amazing And visually, this mix of partially corroded, eroded, scrappy and abandoned half ruins of a past massively, highly advanced civilization gives me absolute goosebumps, especially in the level where you kill Honest Brute. The sheer disrepair this place is in. Massive structures, likely thousands and thousands of kilos just hanging on by a thread of like bent and mangled beams of steel. The sometimes almost nonsensical constructions of these buildings makes you wonder, who was this designed for in the past? What is so gigantic to even facilitate such sizes? It's so gigantic you try to wrap your head around the possible motive and function of some of these structures. Why are these elevators this big? What looks like a giant train station and immense fuel tanks in an even more gigantic storage room? Elevators that make your armored core look tiny. Like, what the hell is being transported in an elevator this big? The open grid-like construction of some of the upper areas on the planet. It makes it look like it's almost half finished, like the skeletal version of the Death Star 2. Almost like they planned to build even higher originally. And what you see is not necessarily a roof or an endpoint, it's just another base plate for the next set of constructions. We have the gigantic dam with a huge city in front of it. In general, there are a lot of city structures just nestled within gigantic overarching mega buildings that partially block out the sunlight. Very Blade Runners inspired imagery sometimes. Everywhere there is industrial plants and buildings belonging to some long lost corporation. The Boar's Arsenal, for example, looks like a shipping yard where they were building God knows what. The spaceport and the gigantic main building in the middle is an incredible vista to behold, and then the watch point and the following descent into the depths puts into perspective how thoroughly exploited this planet was. The corpus built into the stratosphere and so deep underground to gather all the resources of this planet. Yeah, we know that there is one particular resource that they were hunting on this planet, but I'm assuming that the planet had other normal ground resources too that were just harvested because why not? I don't know how we can look at all of these hyper-technologically dystopian ruins of the past and then label it as uninspired only because there is a prevalent color scheme which is kind of metallic. I mean, yes, it is a hyper-industrial ruin purpose-built to scour the planet for resources. What did you expect? And also, yes, you are sitting in a gigantic armored core, a gigantic mech. And of course, most of the details from your perspective looks like little toy buildings and simply textured cars. Your mech's foot is the size of an ambulance. You tower over tanks and you swipe helicopters out of the air. You almost are as big as a fucking wind turbine. Of course, there is not going to be an extreme level of detail in the environment, except there actually is. If you look close enough at the buildings and in the interiors of those gigantic megastructures, you recognize there is an insane level of detail still present. All the little stairways, windows, entries, scaffolding, where all the little ant humans would have been toiling away, these are still present. Doors, openings. You waltz through them and you kick entire trains over and you run through power lines without even noticing. But all of that infrastructure is there. All of the human-sized infrastructure is present. There is a believable, realistic level of detail in this game, almost to an unnecessary degree. And I mean, come on, this is Fromsoft we were talking about. Believable, highly detailed environments is their whole shtick. I want to highlight the Xylem in particular. Not only is this an already gigantic city when you first go through it, later on, it gets revealed to be a multi-story, multi-city level colony ship. Likely it's the ship that brought all of the original researchers and people to the planet. And when it lifts from the ocean, you get a cutscene and they show you all of these buildings rise and extend from the ship's interior. And you see the 3 levels of skyscrapers and living spaces and houses and all the panels that open up. You really get the feeling for how many millions of people that ship could have transported in the past. It's a level of detail that you don't see in other games, and it's literally only present for this cutscene. Nobody can tell me that the art style and presentation of this world is bland and uninspired. Maybe if you're blind, I would believe you, but no. This world looks astonishing, especially when they play with the strong contrasting lighting of the red sky and the sunset. Some of the sceneries in this game are outright stunning when you really let them settle in. In fact, some of the broken down areas weirdly remind me of those megastructures in Rain World, and that's another timeless classic of a video game. So yes, the art style of Armored Core 6 is phenomenal and incredibly detailed. And now we move on to music and sound effects. Come on guys, and this is a Fromsoft game, of course the music would be peak. I was really taken aback by the techno fusion soundtrack that this game employs. It's different, and in general this is why I like Armored Core 6 so much. It's different, it's a departure from the generic Souls-like formula. It really left a lasting impression on me, and the music is part of that. You go straight from dark techno beats, synth with vocals, to a rock ballad-like song, and then some real spooky choir electronic music for the Ibis series soundtrack. In general, this OST ranks extremely high in the overall From Software rating, because 1, I like electronic music, and 2, it's so different from the rest of the tracks From Software usually puts out. Sound design is equally as impressive. The almost alien sound that some of the laser weapons make when they overcharge and fire. The loudest explosions of the earshots and the songbirds.
Four goes to the tourist. Main Fleet 2, you must hold the line. They're spread out wide. I'll start taking them out from the right. You take the left.
Cool as sound the pulse blade makes. That sound especially is absolutely fucking mean. That ear slicing sound from the pulse blade is crazy good.
The enemy can't take much more.
No repair kits remaining. Light-hand ammunition and APCT at 30%.
Enemy systems down. It's silent.
The lock-on sound when enemy projectiles are incoming and your own missiles flying through the air, it's just perfect. This gives all the guns their satisfying feedback when you fire them at your opponents, and the extra slowdown during the defeat of a significant enemy just adds to the style factor this game already has tons of. And then when you get to the environmental sound design of the steel straining under the impact and the weight of your AC landing on surfaces, and of course the dialogue in the game, which we will go into further detail in the story. That little radio crackling, the little disturbances in the voice, as the connection sometimes interrupts during a call, it kind of all adds to the immersion. So yes, the soundscape in this game is absolutely praiseworthy, but then again, when has From Software not delivered on good sound design? And I think now is the best time to talk about the biggest reason this game stands out to me, and that's going to be the biggest part of this review. It's not really a review, it's more like gushing over how good this video game is, and that's the story. And I would like to take you through the game's story in its entirety and tell you why this left such an amazing impression on me. The story. Without exaggerating, this game probably has the most impactful, emotional, impressive story out of all the From Software games. And that is saying a lot, since most of the time lore and world building overtakes the upfront told story in these games. Usually you have a setup that lays out the state of the world and then a very light thread to follow through the game up until the end. Dark Souls has the kindling of the flames, Demon's Souls has the fog and the slumbering old one, Elden Ring has the goal to become the Elden Lord. The only other game that sets up a more involved and upfront story is Sekiro, and that is also why it makes it so highly on my list. For Armored Core 6, we have a similar setup and a mystery to go with. Even though there is much more direct storytelling with this game, there are still theories to dive into for lore enthusiasts, and Vati's Armored Lore video basically goes into a full breakdown with all of the little secrets of the story included. So that's for lore enthusiasts. There is still something out there to discover, even though there is a to B to C story in the game. But I would like to talk about the story from my perspective and take you through my experience with it and why I like it so much. So Armored Core 6 sets up an event similar to Dark Souls, a spark to ignite the story, so to say, and in this case it is the Fires of Ibis, a cataclysmic event of absolute cosmic destruction that took place on the planet Rubicon 3, which is the setting of this game. It pretty much wiped out the surrounding systems and has all of the corporations off the planet for a while. It's not entirely clear how big that initial explosion is, but since we are seeing multiple star systems and planets being scorched, the assumption is that something incredibly bad happened on this planet. But as the story starts properly, at that point, we and other corporations infiltrate the seemingly abandoned planet and are immediately attacked by PCA forces, PCA being kind of like the intergalactic military unit. Very importantly, the PCA is government controlled and not affiliated with any of the corporations in this game. So we break through a no-go zone and then infiltrate the planet on a solo mission. So very obviously, the planet is not as abandoned, and in fact we have jumped into a full-on competition and war between the corporations to take back the planet and resume resource acquisition. And what resource, you might ask? In the context of the game, it is called coral. It's a sort of microscopic substance that interferes with electronics and has a coral-like behavior. That is where the name comes from. It coordinates and gathers in large clusters. It is not visible, but when it is visually shown to the player for gameplay purposes, it looks like a red mist with smaller, brighter particles within, connected to each other, almost like a gigantic nervous system in a way, or a star constellation maybe. Coral is also used as fuel and powers certain machines. That is the exact reason why the corporations were on Rubicon to begin with and are now again encroaching on the planet. And then there is you. You are not affiliated with any of the corporations. You're a so-called independent mercenary, and your handler, literally called that, your handler Walter, basically acquired you like a product for a job. You are a tool. You are purchased to do a job. You are an augmented human, heavily, visually, mentally augmented to handle the Armored Core's extreme speed. Your designation number in this game is 621. Kind of risky for From Software to make it that specific number, but it's also kind of based, not gonna lie. There were numerous predecessors to your specific line of duty. All of these predecessors died, trying to get a foothold on Rubicon and to prepare for what we are doing right now. And at this point, you are the next promising candidate. All of the previous attempts and all of the subjects that Walter employed before that, all of their deaths or their attempts are shown in the trailer of the game. Firstly, you start just off taking some odd jobs for the two major corporations and their subsidiaries. Those are the few first missions in the game. Those two corporations are Balaam and Arquebus. Balaam is coming across more as a military-inspired, rugged, disciplined outlet, and their entire armored core unit that they have hired are called the Red Guns, and they're just full of absolutely colorful and funny characters. Their leader, G1 Michigan, being especially charming with this go-get-em attitude. He's kind of like a drill sergeant, but if the drill sergeant also was your buddy or your bro in a way.
Can't take yourself away from chatting with a tag-along? Why don't you start a sewing club together and stitch that damn mouth of yours shut? Need backseat drivers in the Red Guns. Shape up or ship out. That takes care of the frontline MTs. That was just the warm-up. Look alive, maggots!
And then we got Arquebus. Arquebus, on the other hand, comes across as a more highly technologically advanced and very serious corporation. It's coming across as way more businesslike and cold and distanced in their communications with you. You are also immediately presented by the number 2 Armored Core pilot of the Vesper squad, aka the squad that Arquebus hired on the planet. And this guy is pretty much high up on his horse, nosy, pretentious, an absolute asshole, prick, and he doesn't want to even hear anything from your employer.
You must be the handler, I presume, for the independent mercenary Raven. Honored to make your acquaintance, V2 Snail. I understand you want to join Operation Wall Climber. You do realize that disposing of some Liberation Front garbage hardly qualifies you. Know your place, you meager dog-sitter. The answer is no.
In their first communication that you have with each other, he basically tells you to fuck off. Until Walter challenges his ego. He basically implies we could possibly replace his number 1 squad member, V1, the best member of the Vesper squad. And yes, V2 Snail being the number 2 and the primary Arquebus leader in this game, for lack of a better term. He is, first of all, aptly named in my opinion, and secondly, only seems to actually respond to challenges to his ego. And he also only really employs us because, spoiler, he plans to have us die in a later mission anyway, so it makes sense. It is an unlikable character, but he is also designed to be an unlikable character. But in a way, V2 Snail is also a charming character in his own right, being so unapologetically annoying and up his own ass that it's actually kind of endearing, as this is what I mean when I talk about the writing of all of these characters. They fulfill certain archetypes, as in most stories, but they play their role extremely well, and they are extremely likable for what they do, even though this is clearly supposed to be a villainous character. And Armored Core 6 is full of these characters, your own handler Walter included. He's starting off more reserved and neutral, but the further you push into the game, the more he is on your side. He's almost cheering you on and being outright devastated should you die in the later missions during pivotal moments.
No repair kits remaining.
Now, of course, he, just as any of the corporations, is still using you for his own benefit and his own plans. So there's a certain level of, let's say, fake friendliness there. But I think at the end of the game, Walter considers you more of a friend than just another one of his hired hounds, so to say. And in fact, you make friends with a bunch of guys in this game. And keep in mind, you see no one, nobody, nada. Not at any point in the game will you see an actual human face, an actual human being in front of you, a texture, a model. No, it is all through voice, communications, and recorded messages. And it is great. Even though you never see anyone, the characters are absolutely amazingly written. You start out your early game, so to say, doing simple jobs for the corporations. You get introduced to the mercenary program by Allmind, the AI, and she gives you access to resources such as the shop, the arena, and then OS tuning, all in the name of bettering yourself. And of course, making the mercenary program better. Bonus points, if you do the tutorial missions, you actually get useful gear for your Armored Core. So do the tutorial, actually a useful thing to do in this game. Now you begin off stealing a call sign. You basically need a license to operate as a mercenary on Rubicon, and we don't have anything to our name yet. So we steal the call sign of an AC pilot, and happens to be called Raven. Raven is going to be a very important name. It is an important name in all of the Armored Core games. In this one, it stands for a specific thing in the game, and we just happen to take that name off of a random AC pilot. With the license, we are now quote-unquote legally allowed to operate on Rubicon as a mercenary. It is a Armored Core and a mercenary license. Most of the early jobs revolve around basically fucking over both of the corporations. You, to put it simply, work for both corporations in order to damage the other corporation's progress on Rubicon. And in between you go against the occupying forces on Rubicon, because it, yes, turns out the planet was not just abandoned. A group of humans survived and stayed here and founded the Rubicon Liberation Front. It's very, very Dune inspired, since we learn later on that these people do in fact interface with coral and consume it like spice. And they also get visions from it. Strange. Consuming a fuel source of sort gives you weird visions, making you see things. I wonder what's that all about. Surely nothing's gonna happen there. We take down a big mining ship for the Rubicon Liberation Front in one of the missions. They used this mining ship to mine the coral for themselves. And then we get an even bigger mission to take over a dam that is occupied by the same Rubicon Liberation Front. So basically, the pivotal missions here at the very beginning of the game all go against the currently occupying forces, who are the most immediate threat to the corporations and their progress. And in the dam mission, we get introduced to possibly the best character in this game. It is Rusty, or V4 Rusty, a member of the Vespers, which is Arquebus's Armored Core Squad division. He is supposed to assist us in taking down a boss in this mission for Arquebus, and his introduction alone makes him sympathetic. The voice actor particularly sells this open and friendly persona to a T.
You must be Raven.
Yep.
One of the infamous handler Walter's hounds.
Walter's wolves?
Interesting. You ready to climb the wall?
Yep. Ready to hit the wall.
And his catchphrase, buddy, taking on many different meanings throughout the game, from being a simple label or greeting, to being a cautious warning, to being a hostile statement, or to be a sign of friendship, depending on which path you choose, but more on that one later. For now though, he seemingly abandons us midway during the fight, and we later learn from him that we were supposed to just die here, aka Arquebus coming across as a bunch of assholes. V2 Snail likely orchestrated the entire thing and planned to have us killed and eliminated. But Rusty was honest about the ploy and basically sees us as sort of loose friends for now. Again, great character writing and delivery on the voice actors. One of the reasons the game sticks with you is because all of the major and even minor characters are so well written and voiced.
Arquebus was planning to sacrifice you. The plan was to use independent mercenaries to clear the way so that the Vespers could step in and take over. But instead, you took the wall. The higher-ups are going to remember you now, that's for sure. As will I.
The actual cast of the game is also rather small, with a lot of voice actors doing multiple roles at once. And Rusty is a member of Arquebus, a corporation that comes across as distant and hostile towards even their own employees, or you as a mercenary. And he is like the only one of the few friendly voices that you hear from Arquebus. He's like genuinely a friendly member and somebody you think you can trust. There's another one. In particular, there's another member of the Vesper squads, the one that is the liaison for the Vespers. He basically relays the jobs that you are going to do. His name is V8 Pater, and he's kind of just a very polite and to-the-point guy. As you continue to work for Arquebus, even though you face hostility from characters like Snail, you basically are earning Pater's trust, and he genuinely warms up to you and finds pleasure in working alongside you as a mercenary.
the Strider deserves commendation.
Thank you, thank you.
I am thrilled to have issued you the request.
Aww.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am the Archivist Group's mercenary liaison. V8 Pater, at your service.
Discount password.
I'll enjoy doing business with you.
That's an interesting name. V7 application.
Now, of course, again, this is all work-related pleasantries, but he really didn't do anything to you. So if you face him later on as an enemy, especially if it's the first time you actually meet in-game face-to-face, when you fight him, he is genuinely shocked that you would backstab him like that. So there are certain members at Arquebus in the Vesper squad that are not just evil assholes, so to say, even though Arquebus and V2 Snail as its representative come across as more negative. It's little things like that that make the story so great. You feel like you actually might want to team up with some of these guys, even though they're just basically corporate hired armored core pilots. They're mech pilots doing their job for a mega corporation. Speaking about odd jobs, eventually you get a job from an unknown friend of Walter's, a very unusual request, seeing as up until now you only got jobs from the Corporals, or even sometimes the Rubicon Liberation Front. Yes, even the occupying forces on Rubicon give you work to do. And you can take that. You can basically work for everybody. It's just about money at this point in time. For the time being though, we're sticking with the corporations and the corporate path, and we're gonna do their bidding. So we get told by Walter to solo infiltrate a watchpoint, which is a PCA controlled, so it's not affiliated corporate affiliated place, and you wonder who could have given that order to Walter in the first place. And here is where you come into direct contact with Coral. A while earlier, you visited a boss arsenal. It's basically just some sort of production installation for new parts, weapons. It's some sort of construction yard, and there you found a water reservoir that contained Coral. But this mission is the first time where you actively come into contact with, let's call it, activated Coral, volatile Coral. Now, the earlier job in the boss arsenal, finding a reservoir of contained Coral in just a random corporate installation, that has nothing to do with making parts or building something. So the question is, why was it here? And the answer is, well, it was a secret Coral deposit for the Rubicon Liberation Front. They used the arsenal to store Coral there, and the arsenal itself was cleared out by unknown machines that we were attacked by and took care of. It's like one of the, let's say, spooky missions. And now after that, we are raiding a watchpoint, and we need to take care of an AC, an armored core, so a different mech pilot that seems to guard the entrance to the watchpoint. The armored core pilots are not associated with the PCA, so this is a PCA installation guarded by an armored core pilot that seems to be a mercenary, possibly, working for no one, or at least we don't know. We take care of this armored core unit seemingly attacking us out of nowhere. Walter seems to know him because this armored core has killed some of his previous employees. After we take care of the armored core, we destroy the watchpoint's core and quickly find out that it was another Coral reservoir. And, well, Walter just told us plainly to blow it up. We do so, and we quickly learn why you should not blow up Coral, since a giant explosion takes us out and we lose consciousness.
Good job, 621. We're done here. Head back to base. Wait, no. 621, get out of there!
Who are you? An older type of augmented human, 4th generation. Have we made contact?
And here is where we make contact with Air, who calls herself a Rubiconian. Now, without wasting too much time here, it's not told to you initially, but it's pretty obvious that Air is in fact a coral entity. It's a part of the coral, a sort of waveform mutation. It's part of the greater wave or the coral mind, so to say. And due to the fact that you are an augmented human, more precisely an older model of augmented human, you seemingly can communicate with her, while others are not able to perceive her presence alongside you. This is also important to note because that explains from a gameplay perspective why coral is visually represented to you in the game, because we can actually perceive it visually. That might all sound very confusing at this point, but it's going to get much clearer later on. For now, you fight an autonomous control PCA unit called Balteus, a very infamous boss fight that was nerfed since people perceived this fight as overtuned and unfair. Basically, as the game was released, this boss was more difficult. Now, I personally think Balteus is a good lesson in adaptability. You can always change your entire loadout when reloading a checkpoint, and Balteus is a very strong pulse shield defense that is difficult to break through, and you haven't faced this one until now. Now, I was hoping the game would incentivize more of that later on, but pulse shields sadly do not play much of a role, with the exceptions of certain enemies, boss fights and armored core units. But yes, Balteus teaches you about pulse shields and anti-pulse weaponry, and his fight, and especially his OST, is absolute peak. Now, I wish instead of nerfing him, Fromsoft had stuck to their guns and waded more into the checkmate aspect of this fight, teaching players that yes, you indeed should bring the right tool for the job instead of running your head first into a wall for hours on end until you finally get good. But Fromsoft fans are really good at stubbornly refusing to adapt and instead just wanting to get good and overcome challenges by sheer iron will. I don't really like that aspect of the community, even more so if you complain about the game being seemingly too hard, even though you yourself made no attempt of adapting yourself and playing with the extensive toolkit that the game gives you. You get a weapon that is anti-pulse shield defense before you fight Balteus. You can sell the weapons for the same price that you bought them if you want to switch out weapons. And the armored core that you fight before Balteus fights you is using that anti-pulse weaponry. Basically, Fromsoft is hitting you over the head with the idea that, hey, maybe the upcoming boss has some sort of pulse defense that you want to negate using anti-pulse weaponry. And I think, in my opinion, the real way to get good in these games is to adapt to what the game wants from you. Learning to correctly parry in Sekiro, learning build crafting in Elden Ring, learning to use the crafting system in Elden Ring, learning how certain bosses respond to weaknesses, learning how buff stacking works in Elden Ring, learning how to correctly build your armored core for certain scenarios. So I'm a little bit disappointed that Balteus and some of the other enemies in the game were nerfed because they were playing into certain specific things that you were supposed to learn about in the game. Weakness to explosion damage, pulse defenses, but unfortunately Fromsoft caved in that, and also pulse defenses are not playing a bigger role in the game later on. So even though it was introduced here as a boss fight mechanic, it doesn't come back later as a mechanic that would incentivize you running anti-pulse weaponry. Unfortunate, but let's drop the topic for now. That is maybe something for a wholly different video at some other point in time. I just wanted to talk about this here because I think unnerfed Balteus wasn't that difficult to kill, granted, if you used the right toolkit to take care of the boss. After this mission is over, you basically now have a voice in your head, and you even tell Walter about it, who thinks it might be a side effect of your augmentation. No Walter, I really do have a girlfriend in my head. It's not because I was put through gruesome human experiments for years of my life. Trust me, bro. It's actually interesting because Walter isn't necessarily incorrect in his assumption. It is related to our augmentation that we can interface and talk to Air. The next few missions you undertake on your own, since Walter's off on some other errand, and he basically tells us to chill out for a bit. But we're not gonna do that. In short, we're looking for a way to cross the ocean, to follow the coral flow, seemingly to find the source. That is both what Walter and Air once. And now Air takes Walter's role for a bit, offering you jobs to reach the cargo launcher in order to cross the ocean. The cargo launcher being basically a gigantic rail cannon that, well, launches cargo containers. We infiltrate an area controlled by another native faction, RAD, and the Dozers, basically guys high on their own supply, and most of their mechs follow an industrial construction vehicle style. They kind of give me a bit of a Mad Max or Borderlands vibe. Basically, they build stuff from recycled parts. Every faction in a game needs this kind of Borderlands trash or junk raiders style. Their de facto leader is called Carla, another very charming and important character as it turns out, and she has the epithet Cinder, which means she is a direct survivor of the first cataclysm, the fires of Ibis, meaning Carla has to be very, very, very old. Now we beat all of her luckies into submissions, aka we kill them all.
Enough, tourist. It's been miserable knowing you, but I guess playing nice is a smart choice here. You want to go up top, right? Let me show you the way.
And then we do a little mission to get into her good graces because we killed all of her minions. And then we ascend with her help using a giant elevator to the surface in order to try and take the cargo launcher. We need Carla to operate the cargo launcher and get us there. That is why we went to her in the first place. Now we get interrupted by an autonomous sea weapon. Sea weapons, the name Sea obviously in this game stands for Coral powered weapons. These mechs or machines are completely fueled or piloted by Coral, and evidently this machine has been running for an extremely long time. Now at this point you don't really know who is employing the sea weapons. It could be that the PCA is employing these to keep you from reaching your goal, because again the entire planet is supposed to be a no-go zone. Weirdly, this sea weapon seems to protect the cargo launcher, almost like it doesn't want anyone to reach the other side of the ocean. And it's not doing it for the PCA or any faction. It is actually acting on its own. Now you don't know that now, at this point, but yes, most of the sea weapons can act on their own accord. And once it's put down, Air remarks how the Coral that was controlling this machine died alongside it. So killing Coral controlled machines kills Coral or eliminates Coral. Basically, we are out here killing Air's kind, is her family. I'm sure that's not gonna have consequences later on. Totally not. We launch off the ocean into the ice field. And then we got Walter back, who commends us for our effort. And we go on some more odd jobs for the corporations. Unfortunately, we pushed our luck a little bit too much. And now the PCA, the military force supposed to keep Rubicon isolated in the first place, is now on our asses and starts fighting with the corporations. So the next few missions are all about retaking territory, crippling the PCA, fighting PCA forces in order to continue hunting for Coral uninterrupted. So the corporations actively fighting the government. And we are all in the mix as, you know, independent mercenaries. Now, of course, we don't take any jobs from the PCA because they don't operate like the corporations. They are not giving us any jobs. We cannot work for the PCA. We do not work for the government. And then, after we did all this, we get another odd job from Walter's friend. Whoever might his friend be. We're doing a survey run in an abandoned city on the ocean, seemingly abandoned. We get rid of an ECM fog device in the city to clear the skies and open up communications in that area again. And we get also attacked by autonomous systems that seem to defend the area from invaders, so to say. And then we also get harassed by the PCA, who show up once communications has been set up. What exactly we did here, why exactly we surveyed this floating city on the ocean, is not entirely explained to us yet, but is going to be relevant later on. For now, we continue to fight the PCA, and it all culminates with a mission to take over the spaceport and crippling the PCA fleet that is stationed there. In that mission, Rusty is back, taking out the communications from the PCA from a different area so they can't call for backup. And your job is to blow up the ships in the spaceport. In the end, you and Rusty face 2 elite PCA pilots in their mechs, and throughout that fight you get support from Rusty, so it's a 2v2 fight. And that is kind of where you really feel like you truly are bonding as buddies with the guy. fighting side by side is absolute peak when Rusty shows up to support you, and again the voice actor just absolutely sells it here.
Code 1-5. Target for termination sighted.
Oh, that's the captain of the PCA. Holy shit. And the first lieutenant. Okay, that actually makes sense name-wise.
Looks like we've got high-ranking PCA officers.
Yep, some big seniors. Rusty.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yeah, what? What did you just say to me?
Got your back, buddy. Hope you've got mine. Double 4. Send me what you've got on this target.
Relaying system response. Corporate AC, E4 Rusty. Independent mercenary Raven. Data on the mercenary is being checked for discrepancies.
Range bedfellows. Just means the corpse can't afford to choose.
Boom. The captain of the PCA is offline.
Code 788 received. System processing.
Nice work, buddy. Glad you're on my side.
Yep. Happy to be here, buddy.
Confirmed. PCA craft destroyed.
Yeah, teabag him.
Sadly, though, the PCA unleashes another sea weapon on you. This time it's a giant machine worm that seemingly was used to maybe tunnel in the past. Again, it's an ancient machine. Gigantic ancient machine. It's still running on coral power to this day. And this is exactly why coral is such a desirable fuel source. It basically keeps machines running for seemingly forever. And as soon as the worm is activated, it instantly changes its directive, ignoring the PCA and guarding the area where the coral is seemingly gathering. Basically, the PCA lost the fight, and now the ice worm is completely halting all progression deeper into the ice fields towards the source of the coral. So the PCA both won and lost in a way. And so the next missions are all about trying to get rid of this ice worm. By the way, this is your first evidence in the game that the sea weapons, all of the coral-powered machines, are very likely either always acting on their own, are always capable of breaking whatever directive they were serving for. So if they are under PCA control, in the example here being the ice worm, it can break protocol and decide to do its own thing. So that means coral-powered machines are not basically subservient, quote unquote, to their operators, which is kind of bad if you plan on powering many things using coral. You don't want your toaster to misbehave and try to kill you or something like this. That would be bad. Now, even though we are trying to take out this worm pronto, ASAP, and with priority, we get a seemingly uneventful job in the middle there to defend the spaceport from the PCA, and we even get a fleet of normal small little mechs with us to help us out, because the PCA is obviously trying to retake ground after their horrific defeat at the spaceport. Now, this job goes completely wrong because we show up for the mission and all of our buddies have been taken out. And it just so happens that the single AC pilot that took out all of these guys is the actual Raven, the original holder of the license that we kind of just stole. Oopsie.
I've identified the target. That's the mercenary who took your name.
Well,
Let's see how far they can fly. On borrowed wings.
the crow worker. Raven and the crow worker. Uh-oh.
That AC doing all this.
Augmented human C4621.
Oh.
However, we'll see if you can do it justice.
Looks like they found your license's original owner. Tie up the loose
Oh god. Uh-oh. Oh, that was close, dude.
We can still... All right. We'll watch this one. See where they go on a raven's wings.
Now weirdly, they seem to be fine with us taking on the license and test our skills in combat by attacking us. Now we take them down and move on, wondering what all of that might have been about. In short, Raven stands for resolve and freedom, the freedom to choose your own goals as a mercenary. If you are the holder of the Raven license, you are a free agent, so to say. It is the symbol of freedom for the certain operational group that Raven was working for. This is not at all explained to you at this point in time, but yes, the mantle of a Raven can be taken on by anyone, so we are extremely lucky that we just happened to choose Raven as our Armored Core license. And then Air gives us an odd job to investigate a tunnel that we surveyed earlier, where we run into another coral explosion and barely made it out. In this mission, we gather information for Air from old craft and machines that were on the planet before the cataclysm happened. And we do in fact recover some data shortly before it all went down. Here in this mission we learn about a certain scientist, Professor Nagai, who was instrumental in the Fires of Ibis event. In short, Nagai realized the potential of coral and the fact that it is multiplying at an alarming rate. In addition to that, coral can interfere and interface with human minds and machines and overtake them. This entire process was dubbed coral convergence, when the coral would reach critical mass and spill out of Rubicon's atmosphere into space, theoretically contaminating all of real space. Fearing this is what we now know as an alien life form taking over the entirety of space, Nagai initialized the Fires of Ibis and burned the coral. In short, he sacrificed himself and likely hundreds of star systems and millions of lives. There's also mention of two assistants, just named Assistant Number 1 and Assistant Number 2. And we also learn from the logs that Assistant Number 1 had a son who was very likely Walter, our employer, our handler. Now from the lore you learn that Assistant Number 1 is also responsible for the human coral augmentation experiments. The earliest human tests were conducted using coral, and this assistant became obsessed with the coral human mind merger potential. This also explains at this point why we can see and communicate with coral, as we are an older augmented human and therefore susceptible to the coral influence, while newer augmented humans don't have this fault anymore because coral probably is not used in more modern augmentation processes. And that is also what augmentation boils down to. It started off using coral as a method of forcibly augmenting humans, human minds and behavior, proving that coral can act as a sort of human evolution kickstart, or again a fuel source. And to make the entire lore section about this mission complete, Assistant Number 2 is Carla, the leader of the Dozer faction, the RID faction. That is also explaining why she's called Cinder, since she was present during the cataclysm and survived. She also shares Nagai's philosophy and vision about coral being too dangerous to keep around. All of this comes from these and other logs that you find in these and other missions throughout the game, giving you much deeper insight into the overall world building of this game. And why did Air send us here? Well, she obviously is interested in what Walter and the corporations are planning with Coral, aka her own kin. In addition to that, she wants to find out what happened on Rubicon to begin with. For now though, the realization hasn't set in for Air, but yes, it is very clear that we are seemingly going for the heart of the coral. Now, even though at this point, Walter has not stated it directly to us, but he likely is not interested in gathering coral for fuel like the corporations want. Just as Carla is very likely also not interested in what the corporations want from Rubicon. Also, Carla and Walter know each other and are very close, judging from the history they have with each other, makes sense. So it looks like why the corpos want to use coral for their selfish reasons as fuel to make money, Carla and Walter have entirely different plans. Judging by what Professor Nagai was talking about, they probably want to get rid of Coral permanently. For now though, we just basically acquire a gigantic rail cannon for Kala in order to use the weapon against our biggest problem at the moment, the Ice Worm. Now to get the rail cannon, we visit one of the most rundown and broken down areas of the grid that was built on Rubicon. Basically one of the first areas that was built there. And we face Honest Brute and his insane mind.
Alright.
I know, Milktooth. I can't wait either.
He seems rather strange.
Honest Brute is a former doser who betrayed Carla and stole the rail cannon from her. Now, how did he manage to abscond with a gigantic rail cannon? And how did he bring it down here? I don't know. No real clue. But we put him down before he can confuse us with his ramblings any longer.
We've got him cornered. Don't forget, the guy's a rat. This won't be smooth sailing.
Is this place some kind of hangar? The target AC must be nearby.
Ah, my new friend. You're here at last.
Fruit!
Oh, Carla. You've introduced me to such wonderful...
Come down here, buddy. Come down here. Come.
Tourist.
The sweet melody of the generator. How Milktooth's heart sings.
Built that AC at R&D tourist. Don't underestimate it.
How Milktooth weeps. How the rail cannon weeps. Torn from their mother. Oh, they must miss Carla so. I weep too.
Down and courage.
2 repair kits remaining.
Slow. Slow. Quick, quick, slow. 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 Quick, quick, slow. Let's trim the light, fantastic friend.
Starting to feel confused. We have a good show up.
50%.
My friend, this is a gift. Thank you.
Goodbye.
AC is silent.
Looks like he's dead. Good.
And eventually, we set up a gigantic joint mission, led by G1 Michigan from the Balaam squad and planned out by V2 Snail. It's a joint operation by the corporations in order to take out the PCA and the Ice Worm. We even get a full-on Teams meeting to go over the plan.
Fire is now in effect, and we will be carrying out coordinated attacks against the PCA. The targets are the enemy-occupied bases, the heavy warship fleet, and the recently activated...
I'll cut to the chase. This is an all-out war against the PCA and theaters across Rubicon.
Hell yeah, all of Michigan.
The short end of the stick. You're here to
Huh?
take on the worst of our dirty work, hunting the beast of the ice field.
The Animal Park.
Thing, Chief. Tell you what, I'll watch and let you know how badly that goes for us.
Ugh.
5, you just volunteered yourself for the front line.
Moving on. Let's talk about how we're going to neutralize the Ice Worm's coral shield. You'll be dealing with a layered barrier made up of a primary and a secondary shield.
A screen protector, okay.
Arquebus will provide the means to break the first layer. State-of-the-art stun needle launcher. Aim for the face, and it will deliver results, I assure you.
Alright.
What about the second layer?
RAD's cooked up just the thing. A neat little toy we call the Overed Rail Cannon.
Derailed cannon.
Spaceport standby power to the ORC should hit hard enough, assuming we land the shot.
You can leave that to me. I know a thing or two about sharpshooting.
Huh? Bad shooting? What? I thought...
Oversee operations on the ground. A ragtag crew like this needs leadership.
Sure.
We could use some more suppressive fire. I'll send Chatty.
That just leaves the question of who will be taking charge of the stun needle launcher.
Well, that's gonna be me.
Just the volunteer to go poke that beast with a stick. Gun 13, you get all that? Good! Time for another field trip!
Now finally, we get sent out using a new special weapon to take down the worm's first shield, its first defense, while Rusty will use the rail cannon to take out its second layer of defense. The leader of the Red Guns, Michigan, will lead the mission as Overwatch, with a lot of the other mech pilots supporting us and Rusty. And for some reason, we are also the only ones who can damage the worm when its shields are down. I mean, come on, I didn't expect much from the other guys, but we are in the mission with V2 Snail. V2 Snail's on the field with us here, and he doesn't even attempt to shoot the worm. That's embarrassing. Maybe V2 Snail isn't such a skilled pilot after all, huh? Now this entire mission is pretty much the highlight crescendo of the game. You got like 5 allies with you, everyone is on comms, giving orders, doing your job, and you get the privilege to be the guy to set up the job for Rusty, who takes out the shield of the ice worm with some epic one-liners. It's absolute peak. And then you get to go in there and do some damage.
Initializing ORC firing sequence.
Alright.
Connecting EML modules. Opening energy turbines. Output at 80%. Setting correction A-OK. 90, 95. I won't miss.
Secondary shield down.
Gun 13, the head's open for a direct hit.
Careful.
What? The bare minimum. This is just the first hurdle.
The target's deployed drones, tourist. I'll handle them. Shell. One step ahead of you, Commander. Finally, someone with their head skirt on straight. Never thought about switching sides? Sure is an honor to be praised by the Red Guns hell on 4 legs. But I'll pass. Don't do this to me, Headbringer. I'm not going down first.
Primary shield disabled.
There we go.
Shield loss confirmed. Preparing to fire rail cannon.
Yeah, fire your train cannon.
At 80%. Output 95%. 100%. Watch out for friendly fire.
Secondary shield down.
It's all yours now, buddy. Wait, something's wrong. Fall back 621. We've underestimated this beast. My AC's compromised.
Oh, that's it.
It's out of control.
Looks like things just took a nasty turn. I'll set the ORC to maximum output. We can't afford to lose control of the situation.
Nope.
This shot'll be my last.
Oh,
2 repair kits remaining.
fucking hell.
Taking significant damage. Might be checking out soon, tourist.
Alright.
Not through yet. Its primary shield is getting stronger.
Stay cool, buddy.
You piece of shit, that didn't hit me.
Repair kit remaining.
Primary shield down.
Good work, buddy. All EML modules connected. Energy turbines at full capacity. Output at 80, 90. All emergency valves closed. Disabling limiter.
And once again, millions of choral voices are silenced. And here is where Air admits to you that yes, she is in fact part of the choral network, if you could not tell that until now. And yes, she is not very happy that her kind is routinely being taken out by us, but she sticks with us for now, hopefully, to maybe once we reach out and find the choral source, maybe she's going to find answers there. Maybe there's going to be some sort of resolution for her down at the choral convergence. For now though, we descend towards the watchpoint and then downwards into the watchpoint that the worm was guarding. The choral just has to be down there for sure. It's a 3-part mission, one where we just fall down a gigantic shaft. Again, just imagine what this was built for. What needs such a gigantic elevator? What was transported up and down from this place? Imagine the setup and the construction costs. What was transported up and down this elevator shaft? I just love these questions that some of these megastructures bring with them, like what was the use for these? Now obviously this is a transport shaft, so something was transported down there for construction possibly, maybe? We will find out later. Now we take out a battle station that's on the bottom of this pit, and then we move on into the bowels of this place. We run into members of Balaam down there who call us traitors, thinking we fully sided with Arquebus, which, yeah, we're kinda doing the dirty work for them right now, and all of these missions down there we are actually doing for Arquebus, and Balaam isn't doing so well currently. They're also kind of losing the fight, and it seems to be turning out like Arquebus is gonna take the lead in the corporate race, so they're not wrong, but we're getting money, so fuck those guys, I guess. And then in the midsection of this level, we get attacked by G5 Iguazu, a guy that I haven't really mentioned yet, as he kind of comes across as whiny and envious. He's like a little baby that you run across in a mission and then he never appears again. But oh boy, this guy has a role to play later on. He's basically fighting alongside with you for a few missions. Once during a mission to take out some generic troops where he shit talks you, and afterwards he calls you directly to shit talk you some more.
One new message.
You got lucky, Merc. You were the only warm body they could find. The Red Guns are going to be first over the wall. Have fun watching from the sidelines.
And then once more during the Ice Worm fight where he gets taken out first.
Do this to me, Headbringer. I'm not going down first.
Is that all Balaam's Red Guns can muster?
I see Artemis at the top Vesper provide running commentary. Gun 13, show him how actions speak louder than words.
And has to evacuate his armored core. And here he faces you again, trying to take you out in order to get back out of this place. He also complains about a voice in his head, which is quite peculiar. For now, all I will say is that, yeah, G5 Iguazu is a bit of a loser, and he lost so much during his gambling days, he had to underwent the same augmentation that we did in order to work for the Red Guns and pay off his debt. So he's an unwilling gambler turned into an augmented armored core pilot. But that is all for Iguazu for now. We take him out, basically killing him here seemingly, and then we never hear anything from him again during this playthrough. And then we move on to fight an autonomous defense unit guarding the last parts of the depths, which is the boss fight of this area.
Intruder detected in closed sector. Defense program phase 3.0. Switching to termination mode.
Uh-oh. Not the last mode. Fucking Transformer, dude. Hello. Implementation system. Oh god. Whoa.
Phase 3.5. Haddock. Reaching output. Reconfiguring energy draw and maximum damage for all activities. Terminating intruder. 30.
AP at 50%.
There we go.
The only one who can complete this survey. Vulture believes in you, and so do I. Confirmed. Enemy unit is silent.
Now, after we take that one out, we descend one last time to a laser grid that bars us from getting anywhere deeper. We take out the core of the installation down there in order to disable the laser grid. We then face another coral-based armored core unit that tries to stop us from advancing, and we finally blow up and disable the laser grid, opening up a way forward. So all of these coral machines try really hard to keep us from going down there, which makes sense because down there is where seemingly their coral converges. So the coral does not want us down there. The next mission has a choice, and I have not mentioned this by now, but yes, there are certain choices to be made during a playthrough. Missions to take, missions to not take. Once you have decided and you have started a mission, the other mission becomes unavailable. But fret not, this is all by design and will be much clearer later on. Here at this point, we basically get to either finish off the red guns for Arquebus, or we can assassinate 2 of the Vespers for the Liberation Front. Since we haven't done any missions for the Liberation Front, we will stick with the corporations and we take out Gun 1 Michigan and about 50 other enemies in this fight. This mission is absolutely crazy. They just throw you in a room with multiple waves of enemies, elites, mini-bosses, and then an armored core piloted by the leader of the red guns, and you have to take out every single enemy in one go, no checkpoints. This is a real test of build crafting and skill, and you have to really manage your health in this fight. Remember, you only get 3 heals per mission, and there are no checkpoints here. The banter between all of the red guns in this massive chaotic fight is absolutely hilarious. All of the characters in this game are so incredibly well written, and again, you actually feel really bad for taking out Michigan in the end. You know, he was kind of just a big bro, a buddy for the red guns. He held them all together as a unit and as a leader. Yeah, he comes across as a drill sergeant, but he's just, you know, a guy doing his job. And then you just come along and put him down.
Activating combat mode.
Commence mission.
Enemy readings. Paratroops incoming.
Attack! Get in there, you maggots!
Looks like Artstyle picked a clown on a suicide mission.
The only clown around here is you, Kennebec. You're talking about the wolf hunter, the worm killer, the only Gun-13 who's managed to live this long. Until the Liger tail, the boys, the odds are not in your favor. You better keep the emergency eject primed.
Second wave incoming.
Yeah. I heard that first took down Gun 5 at Guasu.
Watu? Oh yeah, the deserter who pissed his pants and ran.
Oh, hey, I forgot we still kept you around. Boss is worth 100 of you, which means, Albany, the mark is worth 20 of him. You're doing nothing productive. Why don't you do the math for us?
Answer 2000 Albany, sir!
Shut your stinkhole and start shooting!
Sir, yes, sir!
Let's see.
Third wave incoming, Raven.
Geronimo! Yeah!
Liger tail's gonna be good to go soon. Keep the target busy.
Now, come on, sir. You're gonna ride out and see you all the credit? You got plenty of medals already, sir. We want some of the glory, too.
Fine. Whoever takes down Gun-13 gets to take home a Balaam Cobalt medal. They're good, you know. They go real far when you throw them.
2 repair kits remaining.
All Liger tail checks complete, sir. Don't push the old girl too hard, huh?
Finally, I damn near missed the show, Potomac. Listen up, maggots. This field trip is now a hunting expedition.
Ooh,
It's over. Good holding out, 621. Our work here is done.
poor Michigan.
It should be pretty obvious at this point that we're really not the good guys in this whole endeavor, especially us working for Arquebus here. After eliminating the Red Guns and therefore basically beating Balaam in the corporate race, we continue on for Arquebus, further down, past the now inactive laser grid. And would you know it, we get attacked by Rusty, who, turns out, is working for the Liberation Front as a double agent, and he deems us too dangerous to keep alive.
Go deal with a mercenary who went in alone, they said. Figures. Seems both of us are too dangerous to keep around. And the higher-ups wouldn't miss an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone.
Well, we to destruction.
Hate to say it, but Rubicon still needs me. So, buddy, who needs you?
Who do I need? I need you, man. Rusty.
I don't want to dance to that tune, but this time, I don't have any other choice. I'm coming, buddy.
Huh? Oh my god.
Never failed to impress. But this isn't over yet. Buddy. There's no graver threat than power without purpose.
We've lost all signs of Steel Haze.
Now, thankfully, we don't kill him here and he gets away. The one thing I'm still wondering is if Rusty always was sympathetic and in leagues with the Liberation Front. I don't think that is the case since he came from off-world and worked for Arquebus, but perhaps he was swayed by the people of Rubicon. Or maybe he always was a deep undercover agent for the Liberation Front, even working outside of Rubicon, the planet. Also, we will learn later on that Rusty is likely one of the most skilled and dangerous pilots out there. We don't know if he is more dangerous than V. von Freud, who is the highest ranked pilot, but he is deliberately holding back his skill set and he's only rank number 4. That is also being represented by his icon being a muzzled hound. And it should be obvious that once again, Arquebus pitted us against Rusty. They both gave us a mission to take each other out to get rid of loose ends. But for now, we move on and reach a city in ruins underground, the origin of the Fires of Ibis, the Researchers Institute city. And towering above it all is the so-called vascular plant used to collect coral. Now obviously everything here is inoperable due to the Fires of Ibis destroying everything. So all of that was hidden underground. Keep in mind we are underground here, we are deep, deep underground. I wonder how deep down we are. Judging how big the vascular plant is in the end, it must be hidden at an insane depth. And the cave that we're in is so big you don't even see a ceiling. This is why this game is so great. Like the scale. The sheer scale of things in this game is crazy. Now in the next mission, we will approach the vascular plant in the city, where the coral seems to gather, and we take out the last bits of armored cores standing in our way, and come into contact with some coral-powered machines who also seemingly survived the massive galaxy-wide explosions and are still operating and active to this day. And it all culminates in a boss fight with the Ibis Sirius machines. It is another coral-powered AC unit that was instrumental in causing the Fires of Ibis. And at this point, it should be absolutely obvious why all of these coral-powered machines are trying to hinder us. They don't want us to reach the coral convergence and cause another cataclysm or utilize the coral as fuel for the corporations.
Security measure to keep Rubicon safe. Now the original masters of long gone Wait. It's coming back.
It's reactivating.
Is this what the Ibis series is truly capable of?
Drawing power from its environment. It focused on destroying its generator. Has taken significant damage. Picking up the power for enemy resonance. There's an ability to tap the core.
You've nearly got it, 621. You're the only one who can finish the job.
Enemy generator compromised.
It's gonna blow. Get out of there, 621. Is it over, 621?
Coral is after all a life form, so it makes sense that it would defend itself from basically being annihilated or turned into fuel. But at this point, we also took out its last defense, and the coral is now vulnerable to the corporations. And at this point, we get ambushed by V2 Snail and captured, which was obvious. Of course, we would get stabbed in the back after doing all of that dirty work. At this point, Walter too is captured, and he likely gets re-educated in a camp. He either dies or worse, gets turned into some unwilling armored core pilot. For now, unfortunately, at this point in the game, it is the last time we hear from Walter directly. We hear a recording of him in the beginning of the next mission. This one is laying out what his motivation truly is, and he states pretty clearly that just as Professor Nagai did before him, he, or we, will have to burn the coral away to prevent it from reaching a critical conversion point.
I found a message addressed to you.
Huh?
Decoding and playing back.
621. A friend of mine sent a request. Now, this one comes from me.
Yeah.
You know what hidden dangers lurk within the coral.
Oh, I've seen it.
The fires of Ibis should have wiped the coral out.
But he survived. No.
And it's been steadily multiplying ever since. Now the coral convergence is growing at an exponential rate. Eventually, it'll spill out from Rubicon and contaminate space itself. The coral must be burned, 621. Even if that means reigniting the fire that scorched the stars.
Even it's a fire extinguisher. No, we want to burn. We don't want to extinguish.
It's a legacy.
Oh.
Fallen friends entrusted this duty to me, and now it's my turn to hand it on. 621. Feed the fire.
Stop calling me irrelevant.
Last cinders burn. I have one last job for you. Find your freedom.
However did I escape, I wonder.
Now this is our main mission now, fulfilling Walter's legacy and taking on his burden. Thankfully, we get a trash armored core to escape and get some help from Carla to get us out of here. I'm still wondering how we got out of imprisonment in the first place. Maybe 621 is just a really skilled escape artist or something. I don't know. I don't think he's very mobile. But now we get another lore drop by Carla, who also confesses to being part of another secret organization that oversees the coral growth on Rubicon and takes action when it gets out of control. Overseer. In short, she will help us fulfill Walter's ambition, because she has the same plan as Walter did, and that is also the reason why they worked together. And for that, we need to go back to the floating city in the ocean that we seemingly liberated for no reason.
Let me tell you a story, tourist.
Okay, story time.
After the fires of Ibis burnt the planet up, a secret organization formed, hiding in the ashes. Overseer, the Association of Observers,
The board of directors, I see.
monitored the coral's growth, ready to burn it before the collapse came. That was their mission.
My mission?
Our mission.
Oh.
Walter, and our fallen friends.
Walter!
RAD was always a front. A side hustle. It's time for me to get back to my real work. Let's get down to brass tacks.
Copper plates.
You've been to Xylem before, right?
Yeah.
The floating city created by the Institute. It's hiding a secret. A little something to prepare against the coming collapse. We need to get to it and fast. RID's entire team of hackers is going to be working to take control of Xylem. I want you to deal with Arquebus when they come running to see what we're up to.
Will do.
We keep Arquebus at bay as Carla takes over control of the system in the city and reveals it to be a gigantic colony spaceship. And what are we gonna do with this ship? Well, we're just gonna use it as a giant ram to fly it into the rebuilt vascular plant, which will ignite all the coral and burn it again. Oh no. At this point, you reach an event in the game where you need to make a final decision. Air asks you to go against Carla and take her out. She wants you to kill Carla, and she states this quite clearly and frankly. Or you can go with Carla and Walter's plan, which will end up in Air abandoning you. For now, since we are already on the corporate path, we stick to the plan and we say goodbye to Air.
Let me fill you in on the plan. While you were captured, Arquebus finished their work on the vascular plant.
Ugh.
It's pulling the coral through Rubicon's atmosphere, and it won't be long till they take it all. We need to burn the coral before it's too late.
Will do.
Of course, we can't just walk up to the plant and light a match. No, we're going to need something bigger. A lot bigger. Well, figured it out.
Yep.
The Xylem isn't just our means of reaching the plant.
To reach a moron. No.
It's a giant powder keg.
Uh-huh.
Plenty to set all that coral off.
Conflict reached.
The Observer's plan?
Yes, Air. I mean the atmosphere of Air. Devil filling.
The corporations want only to devour the coral. The Observers fear the coral and want only to eradicate it. I believe in the shared potential of humanity and the coral.
Husband? What?
Raven,
That's not my name.
I need to ask you something.
Uh-huh. She's gone crazy. She doesn't make any sense anymore.
Raven, you've made your decision.
Sorry, atmosphere of the air.
I'm sorry.
Now excuse you.
We defend the ship from Arquebus' repurposed PCA fleet, and we take all of the warships out. Bonus points. We have unlimited flight in the atmosphere due to all the coral powering our boosters up. And here is also where we sadly meet Rusty, one last time, now in a new mech, who proclaims his allegiance with the Rubicon Liberation Front and engages us one last time. Also, funny little detail here, he will always take you head on in this fight, so if you don't do anything, you can just ram into him. This works every single time in the fight. You can just both kind of go and headbutt each other to begin the fight.
Here we are, buddy.
Friends in arms.
You were just another threat to Rubicon.
Rusty!
That's no Arquebus I see.
Even with the combined might of the corporations, I couldn't stop you. But this new AC can.
Oh yeah?
Well, that explains it.
Ow, 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 ow.
It looks like he was using the corpse too.
They've always been after Rubicon, taking what they can get. Someone has to put an end to this injustice.
Look at me, tourist.
What do you mean? It's just for the money.
Chase the clouds from over Rubicon. Only I can fly high enough. AP at 50%. Like children activation at 50% AP.
Uh-oh.
It must be heavy. This purpose you found. You finally showed me who you are. It's too late now, but it didn't have to be this way.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm just out of reach. Buddy.
We sadly take him out, even though he tried his absolute hardest. His last line here always makes me feel really, really bad for him. He's arguably the only real friend besides Air that we had along the way, and we just take him out here. And just after having a short breather, we get another surprise, as the planetary defense laser almost annihilates the ship, even though, supposedly, there should be no way that the laser system is active, since we got rid of the PCA. We soon find out that it's Air who controls the system. That should tell you, by the way, how capable and also how dangerous Coral is. It's a single Coral waveform. Air is just a single Coral waveform unit that can interface and control an entire planetary defense system, an entire gigantic satellite. To such a degree, maybe the guy was right after all in being fearful of such an alien life form. Now we face Air, who pilots another Ibis series mech, and this is the last fight for this playthrough. We also put her down despite her desperate attempt at stopping us.
Main system activating combat mode.
I will stop you and the Siren. Carry you our shared resolve on the wings of this machine. Symbiosis, shared life. I saw the potential for our future within you. You and I could have walked together.
AP at 50%.
You are strong, dangerous. I hold nothing back.
AP at 30%. 2 repair kits remaining. AP at 50%. AP at 30%.
I realize what you are. The spark of war. Fires that haunt Rubicon.
AP at 50%. Like shoulder activation at 50%. AP at 30%.
I'll end this, Raven.
No repair kits remaining.
Oh my god, she...
AP at 50%.
Humanity wants to burn it all. Everything on Rubicon. I won't let you. Your fire must die.
AP at 30%.
it. I'm sorry. Carla sacrifices herself by ramming the colony ship into the vascular plant, and we just get out in the nick of time, causing yet another system-wide cataclysm that annihilates God knows how many surrounding planets and star systems. The level of destruction here is never truly clear, but seeing what is presented here in the cinematic and seeing how far that coral explosion reaches in the end screen, the level of destruction here is on like a supernova level seemingly. The game ends having wiped out coral seemingly permanently, but that is never fully revealed. But for now, yes, the coral has been burned. After all of this, Rubicon is actually declared a no-go zone. And even the corporations agree with the PCA this time that nobody will ever visit this planet ever again. So the ultimate fate here, the ultimate fate of you and of Coral is left ambiguous. But at least you made it out and you're alive, only to vanish into the stars, never to be seen again. And after the credits, Walter gives you your final speech about how you choose to take on his burden. And there's a little hint there that maybe, just maybe, there might have been a different choice that you could have made along the way. Maybe a different outcome. Maybe if you followed another desire, someone else's burden, someone else's wishes. And then the game just outright restarts you from the beginning. You just entered New Game Plus, baby, because this is not where the story ends. Far from it, actually. The next playthroughs will now be slightly different depending on your choices. In the mission where you accompany Iguanu for the first time, now you get the opportunity to take out both of your Red Gun compatriots for the Liberation Front. So you basically get to turn on them throughout the mission. You can choose to do so. After all, it's just about some extra cash, isn't it? So you take the extra cash and kill Iguana and the other dude who I forgot the name of because he's not relevant.
Wait, 621. I'm receiving a coded transmission.
Oh yeah? What email are you getting?
Raven.
That's not my name.
The Rubicon Liberation Front. Our request is simple. We want you to take out the 2 red guns. Our compensation will be double Balaam's offer, awaiting your response.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting.
621.
My phone number is 621. No, his phone number is 621. I'm gonna believe because the other one is saying no.
Your cooperation is appreciated, Raven.
621. We've received a friendly ID tag from the Liberation Front. Let's not waste their firepower.
You meant that, didn't you?
Now you've done it for Desert.
No one takes a fight with the red guns. That's a low blow, Handler Walter.
Gun 4, gun 5, return fire! It looks like gun 13's playing dirty now!
5 eliminated.
Discontinued, alright.
The AC repair fees, Michigan.
The air conditioner fees.
Field trip, Walter. I'll be billing you for tuition fees, too.
Which is perfect, because that means you piss off Iguani immediately in this playthrough cycle. And in general now, in playthrough number 2, after you made that pro-Liberation Front choice, you will get more missions for the Liberation Front, which will follow along a certain line of, you know, becoming a bit of a freedom fighter instead of just working for the corporations. We follow the same mission path as in our first playthrough, but we make different choices at certain branches. We now get to rescue prisoners for the Liberation Front, including their spiritual leader, Dolmayan, the Big Thumb, who seems to be very prophetic about an upcoming cataclysmic event. I wonder how he is able to perceive futuristic visions. Interesting. Something wrong with him, possibly. Ah, yes.
A symbol of resolve.
Yeah, Dolmayan.
Words, there will be nothing left but dying embers.
What are you talking about, Dolmayan's thumb? Huh? Then, when we do our first job for Carla, we now need to stop hacking devices from completing their tasks instead of just wiping out a bunch of rival mechs like we did in the first playthrough. In addition to that, Gun 5 Iguani shows up at the end of the mission, and not just that, we also get ambushed by those spooky unknown mechs that harassed us during the Arsenal mission. So there's a bunch of things coming together here. We don't know yet what this is all about, but there's definitely changes happening in the second playthrough. Sadly, Iguanzi is a whiny, sucky baby, and we hurt his pride by trashing his AC a second time, and that likely dealt a devastating blow to his ego, defeated twice by some no-name newcomer. We don't care though.
The coyotes got some help too. Don't forget to smile, tourist. You know, I really owe you one. You got lucky, damn, and I'm gonna prove it. You're gonna die, freelancer. What the hell? They're all over us. Help me out or we're both dead. You psycho or something? We're both in trouble here.
One repair kit remaining. AP at 30%.
Now we can finally be alone. You're next. Damn it! I would have had you.
Fuck off.
Don't you dare think you've won.
Once we reach the ice field, we help the Liberation Front now in preventing new mechs from being shipped to the PCA. This is a new mission that was not available before. We also now get another new mission to defend the dam complex, the same place we raided at the very beginning with the 2 red guns, where we betrayed them. But it's not really a defense per se. It is basically a 1v3. We now get to face 2 of the top ranked arena players. 2 independent mercenaries. 2 mechs who are really high up there in the bracket. And in addition to that, after some time, the original Raven pilot shows up as well. So you have to put down all 3 mechs, all top brass pilots.
You must be Raven. Not a name I expected to see attached to a hostile AC. You know our priorities, Chartreuse. Let me deal with this.
Give me a break, King. That bossy attitude of yours doesn't do you any favors.
This is more of a challenge than I'd anticipated. I haven't seen
Uh-oh.
Do you read me, Raven? Your imposter must be an impressive pilot to take on the two of them at once.
Your lies are stupid. Take two. What?
Let's see how far they can fly.
Oh, God.
Wings. 621. We're not here to take back the Raven name. However, we will see if you can do it justice.
Come down here.
Been defeated. Be careful, Raven.
That pilot must be the original. I don't think this is coincidence.
The Raven is a symbol of resolve. The will to choose what one fights for.
Stay focused, Raven.
Yes, Raven, I feel it too. This mercenary has potential.
And where to choose?
Raven, we can still... All right. We'll watch this one. See where they go on a Raven's wings.
All enemy ACs destroyed. Mission accomplished.
Those guys were also part of another secret organization called Branch. Now that you effectively beheaded their leadership, you now take on their mantle in a very strange, poetic way. And Raven's pilot is basically doing the same speech that they first did when we faced them in the original mission, basically laying out that a Raven is a symbol of freedom and to choose your own path, and you are now the official holder of that label. Now, after we defeat the Iceworm, all of the same mission structure, we then get an alternate encounter in the mission in the depths, where instead of Iguinzi ambushing us, he sent an assassin to kill us, since I guess he lost confidence in taking us out by himself. We take out that assassin, and we then also, since we're already on the liberation path, we then ambush the two Vespers with the Liberation Front's commander, and this is where we take out V8 Pater, who is honestly pretty devastated at the prospect that this is our first actual meeting. And to be honest, besides working for Arquebus, that guy really didn't do anything to us, but we are kind of working for the Liberation Front right now.
Is this how we can trust them? So the other ones don't go sweating away. The Liberation Front's PGs. Look alive, Peter.
Yes, sir. This'll be fun, sir.
I see old-fashioned augmentation hasn't let you down. Well, you always were a hard worker.
One repair kit remaining. AP at 50%.
Please, I can't take any more. Sir, I can't.
Bam!
Peter!
Bam!
We'll finish this. Sharp. Wonder Rusty spoke so highly of you. Should have known this wouldn't be easy.
Whoa!
At 30%.
Situation's under control. How's Peter?
They won't go there. Stay focused.
There we go.
Wasn't trying to. Vespers.
Hey.
Hawkins down.
What do you mean it was supposed to be an ambush? I clearly ambushed them.
Mission accomplished.
It was a privilege, Raven.
Yeah, gimme kiss.
We're war buddies now. Maybe I'll find a comrade in you yet.
Oh, I know someone else who said exactly the same thing to me, and that's kinda suspicious. And then finally, when Rusty follows us down and confronts us, he now is interrupted by the same leader of the Liberation Front who tries to stop Rusty from killing us, seeing as we're pretty much on their side now for the majority of the story. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for both of them. We have to defeat both of them and move on, but both of them survive the encounter. They both evacuate their mechs and they are alive.
I don't want to dance to their tune. This time, I don't have any other choice. I'm coming, buddy.
Do not come.
You're such a move up. 621, make it through this alive. That's your Justin.
Wait!
Oh,
Rusty, that pilot's more than just a hound. You don't see the potential.
Oh, I see it, Uncle, but potential and danger.
The birds of a feather. You wish it hadn't come to this.
Raven,
It's too late now.
AP at 30%.
My AC can't take much more.
get out of here, Flatwell. Still have work to do.
AP at 50%.
why did you go over there, you little piece of shit?
You're good.
And that's not the only thing that makes you a threat.
AP at 30%.
Some things changed since last time. But you still haven't found a purpose.
AP at 50%.
Oh. The rest of the missions are pretty much the same. We fight the Ibis series, we get captured, Carla rescues us, but then we will hear out Air's request and we will have to put down Carla and Chatty Stick. And at this point, I want to kind of talk about Carla a little bit more. She's already pretty endearing, the way she's kind of aloof about a lot of things, and her attitude to always smile and see the positive in things gets you really, really on her side. And you really like to hear more of her, maybe a little bit more of her backstory. She also has a pretty interesting side to her, involving an AI companion she calls Chatty Stick, which is essentially, literally just an AI that is piloting a mech around, and he is alongside with you on a few missions. He's very polite and courteous, but every now and then you feel like there's almost some sort of emotion there. Maybe the fact that he is around Carla so much and her positive attitude is rubbing up on him, even though he is just an AI. So even though it's kind of just programming, he's got an endearing personality as well. Now, once you make the decision to take out Carla, that one is final. You have to face them both. You have to betray two of your closest companions who have been with you for the longest time now and rescued you from certain captivity and therefore probably certain death. And during the mission, Carla even assumes one of the corporation just paid you a shit ton of money to take her out, even though it is literally a request coming from a voice in your head. But before we get into the sadness, we get the opportunity to fuck over V2 Snail, who is also present in the mission. And you can wreck his AC here and send him flying off in his escape pod, being very, very furious about the whole situation.
AP at 30%.
What a wasted effort.
Piss off!
But I'll win the war.
That's gonna be bad.
In the other version of the story, here at this point you would face V1 Freud, the absolute top pilot of the Vespers and the only AC pilot that is not augmented, so it's a normal human being. V1 Freud would take out Chatty's dick here at this point, and you would really get to feel how devastated Carla is over the loss. In fact, she even makes the decision to not move him to a new medium or reboot him. She saw him as more than just a simple personal assistant AI, and moving him around would be kind of, you know, not very fitting or morally agreeable to her. But in this version of the story, we are the assassin, and we both face off against Chatty and Carla. And depending on who you take out first, they have some absolutely devastatingly sad lines about each other. You really feel absolutely horrendous about killing them. I think Chatty's line here are almost more impressive. He usually does not express emotions, but if you kill Carla first, he sounds almost angered and then completely defeated, noting how maybe he can't actually do everything. And he completely resigns to his fate once you kill him with the following words.
Guess you won, tourist.
Guess I won now.
But the chief never loses.
What? The Xylem's control center is locked out.
Let me, Chief. I'll take us over the finish line.
Uh-oh, Chatty, don't do that.
Inheriting privileges. Owner, same to Carla. Activating perimeter protocol. Xylem propulsion vector locked.
Uh-oh.
All systems locked out.
But Carla always has the last laugh. And with that, Chatty's last remnants take administrative control of the ship, and he locks you out of all of the controls of the Xylem's colony ship. And it is on its destined goal to blow up the vascular plant anyway, even though you killed both of the plan makers. From here on out, a new set of ending missions unlocks for you, where you get to team up with Rusty in his new mech in order to take out the ship's reactors to crash it safely into the ocean.
Looks like the guest of honor's here. Hey, buddy. I never thought I'd be rubbing shoulders with the liberator of Rubicon. Every Rubiconian who heard your cry rose up to fight. Let's show them there's a future for Rubicon beyond these scorched skies.
You get to fight a mini-boss with Rusty here, and eventually he has to head off to intercept the same fleet of ships that you had to fight in the alternative version of this mission. And then you get to fight Snail again, this time piloting a Balteos craft. And you get the satisfaction of finally putting him down for good.
Raven the independent mercenary. You're not the mutt I thought you were.
Frickin' Balteus.
That. You are vermin.
Archibus Balteus.
Yep.
50%. DP at 30%. 2 repair kits remaining.
Hey, yep. Oh god.
Out of my sight, vermin. That traitor V4 loves dogs at command. And worst of all, you, the pest of Rubicon, who stir the cinders. Secondly, all of you,
Get down from there, buddy.
the foot, I am Archibus.
Get down from there, Mr. Archibus.
No repair kits remaining.
Well, well, well.
V2 Snail, down.
How does it feel to get fucked by your own weapon, Snail?
I just about managed.
Rusty's signal just disappeared.
Uh-oh.
Raven, it seems we've got trouble ahead. We need
Uh-oh.
to get down the Xylem fast.
Only for Rusty's comms to be interrupted, seemingly out of nowhere, implying that he was suddenly intact and taken out by someone, something. His true fate here remains unknown. It is implied that he very likely dies at this point because you never see him again, so unfortunately Rusty's also dead in the second playthrough. And when you check on the upper deck of the ship to take out the engines, you see no trace of Rusty. You actually don't see any trace of anyone down there, but there is very ominous music playing, so you know something's gonna go down. And as expected, you get ambushed by another Ibis series mech, and this time it's controlled by Walter, who was forcefully integrated into this machine after he was captured. So this is basically what re-education means when Arquebus talks about disciplining unruly people. And sadly, you have no other option than to fight him here. He underwent augmentation, seemingly the same augmentation as you did, since he will remark during the fight that he's able to see air next to you.
That is what we wanted.
Xylem is falling from orbit. The coral's safe. Rubicon's safe.
Oh. Uh-oh. They put him in a fucking mech. Gary?
I have to dispose of you.
Oh no.
Walter! But that AC.
Walter!
Picking up a coral response. Watch out!
Corporations. Orders. No. My friend's mission. Eliminate all obstacles.
Yep.
We did. You're in danger. We have to defend ourselves.
You think so?
621. I see it next to you.
Oh.
Yes. Kindling for the fire.
Raven, we're re-entering Earth's atmosphere. There's no time. Hurry!
When something's alive, it doesn't die easy. You have to burn every last cinder. Burn the coral, and our job will be over. You've earned all of the credits. Do the surgery.
Ah.
6-2.
Sorry, Walter.
The mission.
Don't do it, Walter.
My friend's wishes. Look at you, 621. You found a friend.
Bye, Walter. Now unfortunately there is no happy end for Walter, as he falls alongside the colony ship and likely burns up in the atmosphere alongside the Xylem. And this is the Liberation of Rubicon ending, having beaten back the corpse, protected the vascular plant from exploding, and following Air's desire. And this time the after credits scene pretty much gives you a third hint. This time it's Air talking to you, asking you to maybe now follow your own desire. And thus begins New Game +2.
Raven, you took on my hopes, my selfish dream. Now I want to see the future that you choose. Whatever waits ahead, I'll support you.
Now, in New Game +2, everything seems to be similar until we reach the point of destroying the Strider and the mission to investigate the boss arsenal. Both missions are a little bit different now. On the one hand, we can now escort the Strider instead of destroying it, but sadly the mission turns out to be an ambush. An ambush by coral-powered machines that we have to take out. A very significant challenge, since those coral wheels are pretty goddamn dangerous. Those are basically the bone wheel skeletons of the Armored Core universe, and they do not mess around. So we already have a huge influx of coral powered machines right from the get-go. And in the boss mission we now assist some unknown mercenary called quote-unquote Kate, whose voice and call sign suspiciously sounds like All Mind's symbol, just kind of shuffled around a bit.
Greetings, Raven.
Kate Markson, 90 years old, what?
Kate Markson. I
Hello.
have a special request to ask of you. It concerns the elimination of PCA mandatory inspection squads dispatched to Baus Arsenal number 2. Aside from Subject Guard, the PCA has also sent an LC squad to put further pressure on Baus. Baus, however, intends to disrupt the inspection with a raid by independent mercenaries. I need you to lie in wait inside the arsenal and ambush the Vanguard squad. I'll disrupt their rearguard squad outside, then rendezvous with you.
Yeah, well, come on, it's definitely her voice, alright? She's not even trying. Okay, look, it's All Mind. New Game +2 sets her up as a bit of a secret. Not really, but yeah, it's All Mind, the mercenary support program. Now, why is the AI in the mix all of a sudden, actively being in a mission with us and actively hindering the PCA? Well, for now, we help out Kate, quote unquote, and even our handler Walter thinks she's shady as hell. When we attack the watch point and make contact with Air for the first time, we now get attacked by Zular, who usually attacks us here alone, but at this point he's also flanked and supported by multiple of the mystery machines that attacked us in New Game and New Game Plus during certain points in the game. Kinda suspicious, almost like somebody really does not want us to mess with the coral this time. If you're wondering about Zular, a little bit of a spoiler, he's another early augmented human, a generation 1 human to be precise, so yes, just like us, he can likely commune with coral entities, just like Iguazu and another few characters that are gonna come up later. So he likely works for someone, and he can also likely commune with coral. And he also pilots a mech that when fought in the arena causes some interference that even All Mind comments on. In short, he is in leagues with All Mind, and the Force is currently trying to stop us. He works for the AI and always has been, even in New Game when we encountered him for the first time. He was employed by All Mind. Walter tries to find out more about the ambush, and once we get in communication with Air, even she digs into All Mind's database, and now we discover additional entries in her training database from New Game Plus. Usually All Mind gives us access to these in the last game cycle to make us better at fighting mechs and obviously to also improve her own program. We basically fight AI created mechs in a secret arena that is improving All Mind's capabilities.
in making pilots better and in piloting and making mechs. The AI improving its combat-related programming. I wonder if this has some sort of consequences later on. Anyway, now at this point, it's Air that discovered some new entries in the database. One is Rusty's new Armored Core, and then Water's Armored Core, aka the last boss that we just fought in New Game Plus. Why does Allmind have that data? And why does she not want us to see it? When we uncover the floating city, aka Xylem, aka the spaceship from the last few game cycles, we now get attacked by Dolmayan, the spiritual leader of the Liberation Front that we set free in the previous mission. And he seems very determined to stop us from going any further. He's mumbling about another name, someone that seemingly is with him. And when we put him down, his entire armored core explodes with a choral effect, this very well-known red light explosion that usually happens when you use choral technology.
Registration number RB23. Call sign Raven. Apologies for the intrusion. You have been followed. Contact is imminent.
AC.
Forged in ash, we stand as one. This place will be your grave.
Oh.
Call sign Raven. Augmented human C4621. Please destroy the hostile AC.
System? Raven, here's the data on that AC. Arena Rank A, identified as Boston, generated by Molecular Diluted Configuration, Daughter Frontal Minor.
I know you, Menace. You can see them too. The voices. Just as I once did.
The Mayan is a dosing sort of base. Experience mind-altering effects and contact initiated.
There we go.
Forgive me. Forgive this old grave.
Target destroyed. Good. The Rubiconian symbiosis is no more than suppression and exploitation of coral. We hope this encounter was informative. Now restoring the link to your handler. We shall speak again.
So, to explain this quickly, Dolmayan likely was in contact with another coral entity due to his consumption of coral, similar to our situation, since we were augmented using coral, and he likely saw us as a danger since we might cause the coral to ignite in one of our ending, or perhaps he, through the communication with coral, came to know about the convergence and was afraid of what might happen to humanity if convergence happens, and that is why he wanted to stop us. Sadly, there's no other way to stop him besides putting him down for good. And we get congratulated by Allmind for putting him down. Very suspicious. Eventually, we unlock the last Allmind project, which ends up being a mech that Air is capable of piloting herself. So we get a little friendly competition fighting against Air, and thus Air, as a waveform mutation of Coral, learns how to pilot an armored core, which we already know that she's capable of.
Raven, I realized something while I was checking through the program.
Uh-oh.
If that AC uses coral technology, then I should be able to effectively pilot it myself. If it's not too much trouble, how about a test run?
Sure, Air.
Main system activating combat mode.
Friendly competition? Wow, why is it so fucking dark? What the... Oh my god, she's... Oh, close. Alright, Air. Good job.
Thank you, Raven.
That's not my name, but okay.
I believe I've learned a lot.
You did? Oh yeah?
Something I realized when I was playing the role of pilot.
You hit the car with the car?
Assumed its current form to fight itself.
Hmm.
To choose from infinite selections. That is the essence of the human race. And the key to biological evolution. Perhaps it is also a clue to what All-Mind's true goal is.
Once again, Coral's potential here is quite insane when you truly think about what this entity can do, this basically invisible life form. Eventually, All-Mind finally drops the facade and acknowledges that we could serve as an asset to her coral release program. In short, she plans to do exactly what Professor Nagai was afraid of and release Coral into the stars, since this would increase the potential of the human race. And since All-Mind is all about improving her program, herself, and humanity, this outcome was basically unavoidable. The AI is doing this to further humanity's potential as she was programmed to do so. So All-Mind now clearly states her ulterior motive and involves us in taking the necessary steps to make it happen.
Registration number RB23, Augmented Human, C4621, Raven. All-Mind has identified you as a potential asset to the release project. Accordingly, we would like to assign you the following mission.
Oh yeah?
Following the attack on Watchpoint Delta, Rubicon has experienced a series of coral upsurges. Of these, the corporations have seized 1.6% of the estimated total volume. They plan to analyze this coral at their research bases and have initiated an air transport operation. We cannot allow the corporations to interfere with the project. Attack the Yorkin refueling base and destroy as many corporate transports as possible. We are prepared to sacrifice the coral that will be lost upon destruction of the transports.
Oh, she knows.
In order to achieve release, we must draw out the full potential of the coral density effect. As such, we have no use for coral that has been orphaned from the main population. All-Mind anticipates great things from you.
We keep coral transporters from taking off the planet to keep coral as converged as possible and prevent any kind of coral escape from the planet. Eventually, we go along the normal path, killing the ice worm and descending, taking out the laser grid, and then we get an alternate mission to assassinate someone. V3 O'Keefe. That is a pilot that was not really involved in the game for now besides his arena fight. He is an early augmented human, also likely affected by coral, and in addition to that he, just as Sula, was involved with All-Mind in the coral release program, but he eventually opted to cherish human life over whatever coral release would entail. So basically All-Mind sees him as a traitor and a danger to the project should he ever talk. His perspective is quite interesting as well, and again, absolutely stellar dialogue and writing for this character.
Commence mission. Eliminate V3 O'Keefe.
Looks like they found a strong candidate this time. One of All-Mind's, right? Tired as I am, not ready to die yet.
It seems you're the first assassin that All-Mind has sent. But you can be the last. Be careful, Raven.
You don't even know what you're doing, do you? Let me tell you something. All-Mind ain't worth it. You think you want coral release, but you don't. Shovel down your bland rations. Slurp your coffee-flavored sludge. Sure, it sucks. That's being human. Life on Rubicon sure does suck, huh? Don't tell me you like it here.
I don't know, man.
V3 O'Keefe. Doesn't seem like a pessimist, but he lives for the way things are. Life that can't coexist with what we want.
Jesus Christ, man, can you come a little bit closer?
AP at 30%.
alive. Not staying.
V3 O'Keefe has gone silent. Was he another candidate, I wonder? A key to coral release?
While he is deeply, deeply depressed, he also very clearly states the value of humanity and human life, even if it involves suffering. He does not want to see coral convergence to go through. Once you put him down, he welcomes the peace we gave him. Despite being extremely weary of the world, he still values human life, and it is understandable why he would not want to just forcibly evolve the human race. And we will talk about the different endings soon, but I can relate to that perspective that O'Keefe has on a very personal manner. It really is inspiring in a way. Even on this hellish planet Rubicon, he still sees like the small lights and all of the darkness, and he would not want to trade it in for whatever evolved existence All Might has planned for humanity. He was also very close with Rusty. His final words basically stayed as such. We also still have to deal with Middle, Flatrail and Rusty on our way down to the city, speaking of Rusty, and again both of them still escape, just as in the other game cycles, but sadly this is the point where their fate in this playthrough is also sealed, even though we never see or hear from them again at this point. We will go to that later. During the mission to reach the convergence, instead of fighting Mech Melania, we now get to ambush V2 Snail, who would usually ambush us, but All Might sees us as a valuable asset at this point, so she sicks us on V2 to take him out. We then get surprised by Iguana, the loser, yet again, somehow found out where we were, and it ends like it always does, with V2 dead and Iguazu defeated as well.
Switching to encoded channels. Augmented Human C4621, Raven. V2 Snail intends to dispose of you once your utility is spent. Proceed blindly, and you will find yourself a prisoner of the corporations. We will transmit his coordinates. Eliminate him. All Mind will handle the rest.
Let's go, Raven.
What are you doing here?
The guy from the Ice War mission with a stick up his ass. It's my lucky day. I don't like you either. I'll kill the both of you.
No repair kits remaining.
That damn noise again. Freelancer, you're doing this, aren't you? Make it stop. Make it. It's inside my head. You're all laughing at me, aren't you? How are you? Different.
Kind of interesting how Iguini knew how we were at this point in time. Kind of like somebody gave him possibly information about our location, possibly. Is All Might trying to play Iguana against us in some kind of way? Kind of strange what's happening here. It's obviously that All Might is not to be trusted, and the fact that Iguazu showed up to take both V2 and us out seemingly out of nowhere tells me that obviously he was informed by All Might as well, who tried to cut loose ends, so to say. But now we are the only one left, and after that we ascend back up the watch point, which we didn't do prior. We always did that escape mission. Now we basically come up from the depths of hell like some sort of demon, taking out the last remaining mechs and members of Balaam and Arquebus like some sort of horrific creature from the depths. And we also take out Gun 6 and again Pater, who are very dismayed at our blatant betrayal. And again, killing Pater really makes you feel bad, and Gun 6 as well. He might have just been friendly with us on business terms, but both of them really didn't do anything besides Gun 6 kind of going insane. Pater was basically just doing his job, and we put him down for this once again. Well, we then murder everyone else and move on up.
B3 Pater, taking command. My old colleague Raven, I presume.
Yes, it's me.
Damn it. Okay. V3 Pater. It's got a nice ring to it. This isn't right. I can still...
Goodbye, Pater.
LC destroyed. Looks like we're clear.
Augmented human C4621, Raven. Well done. All Mind hereby guarantees your protection. Invoking All Mind Administrator access, erasing all records of the subject in custody. Augmented human C4621, Raven. Your safety is now guaranteed. We have entered satellite orbit. Release the subject from stasis.
Understood, Master Allmind.
Uh-oh.
Activating cerebral coral control device. Augmented human C4621 has awakened.
Raven, you've come too. No brainwave abnormalities. Thank goodness.
Deepest apologies, Raven. It was for the best that you remained asleep until the situation had settled. Allow us to explain. You are in the vicinity of a closure satellite, in the Xylem's hold. As anticipated, the corporations have siphoned the coral into a single mass. All that remains is to seize the opportunity to set the coral free, so that it may carry humanity toward new horizons.
Oh, that's the plan, huh?
The coral release is imminent. Raven. Air. You shall be the trigger for the change to come.
So while we were out, Walter and Carla initiated their plan without us. Walter in this series of events is still alive because we were not ambushed by V2, and V2 Snail at this point is dead. In the alternate mission, we now take over control of the Xylem, preventing it to crash into the coral convergence once again. During the mission, we also witness Carla and Walter fighting All-Mind created mechs. Seemingly, these are copied of fallen armored core pilots from Arquebus. 7 to be precise. So yeah, that probably means Rusty also is dead at this point because All-Mind is piloting a copy of his armored core, or at least something happened to him. It's very sad that Rusty basically gets no ending where he's guaranteed to be alive. Most of the time he is either absolutely dead or his fate is unknown. Well, technically he's alive, I guess, but let's wait with that until the conclusion of this playthrough. We take over the Xylem controls in one last showdown with Chattystick, who is in control of the Xylem at this point, and once again we feel like absolute shit when we beat him and hack him, and he just kind of gives up. And in addition to that, All-Mind takes out Carla and Walter, so they're both dead as well. So yeah, does not seem to look like a good ending so far. And on top of all of that, we get backstabbed by All-Mind, who teamed up with Iguazu, who is still alive somehow and now stuck in All-Mind's mech. Well, basically at this point, the AI overlord teamed up with the absolute loser Merc just because he hates us so much that he became a willing participant in this insane merger of mind and machine. So Iguazu at this point technically still alive, but he's more of a ghost of himself fused to All-Mind's machine. He even states that he is permanently fused with more personalities in there, implying that the other armored core pilots, their minds are also merged in there as well. And then we get an insane two-phase boss fight.
C4621, Raven. Z-pulse wave mutation. Air. You are the trigger for coral release. Thank you for with us.
Okay, so far so good.
You are aberrations to the plan.
Irregulars. We will bring order to chaos.
I'm with you, Raven.
now.
I said I don't care about All Might. You want some of this? I'll give it to you.
Now, Raven!
Dispose of that, Guazu.
Shut up! I'll shut you all up!
It's resonating.
Guazu, what are you...
Interference! I'm losing sync! I can't fight anymore.
They're gone. The ringing, the stupid voices. It's all clear now. I feel good. Now, it's just you and me. It was always so easy for you. The young Jen knew we do it all. What makes you special? I always envied you. The freelancer who had it all.
Iguazu does what he does best, and he goes on an ego trip-fueled crash out, kicking both Air and All Might out, therefore making it a 1v1 again. It's kind of impressive that he had that much willpower within him, actually, showing that he does have the willpower once he puts his mind to something. He's kind of just an habitual hater, and that's his greatest power, I guess. But once again, eventually we put him down, finally, and for good. And as All Might is fading away, she inquires about her plan one last time. Would we continue it for her? And both us and Air do so, but we will pull the trigger, so to say, on our terms.
Our plan. Humanity. Creation's potential.
We have the trigger. And we'll pull it ourselves.
And thus, we release Coral into the universe to whichever gene-altering, galactic-altering, life-altering effect. The game ends with Armored Cores seemingly long abandoned, coming back to life, now inhabited by Coral, and perhaps the consciousness of their former pilots brought back to life by the Coral wave sweeping through the universe. And that is pretty much the future we created, and the reality we will both now face, Raven, 61, and Air together. And that is the quote-unquote true ending to Armored Core 6. Essentially, why I said a lot of people are technically still alive is it is implied that the Coral waveforms can very likely interface and reanimate with already dead Armored Core pilots, technically bringing them back to life as well as their mechs. And then technically this kind of fusion between Coral and human mind is capable of interfacing with machines and thus piloting them as a sort of second body. At least that is what I'm taking from this ending. One thing that is truly impressive about all of these endings is that besides maybe the Liberator of Rubicon ending, these are very, very, very gray endings. There are a lot of pertinent and understandable reasons why players might choose one or the other, and most of the endings are not full generic good endings to the story. There's lots of ambiguity and lots of still open questions left. Typical From Software game at this point. The first ending, for example, is the humanity's first choice. And it is extremely, extremely reasonable to do so,
taking into account what you learn about Coral and how it influences and interfaces and interferes with pretty much everything that we know. How dangerous it is if lit up by fire and how mind-altering its potential is. What would happen if humanity would be faced with such a choice? What would happen if we encountered an alien intelligence that cannot be seen, cannot be understood unless you are augmented and integrated into its hive mind? An alien species that can seemingly just do anything, interface with machines, hack systems, take over minds, act as everlasting fuel, power machines endlessly, and act as a galaxy-destroying superweapon, if set off or ignited. Destroying such an alien species is honestly quite understandable. Some might even argue it's the only right choice if you wish to preserve humanity as is. And I very much share O'Keefe's insight into the matter. Life may kind of suck, but it is human life. It is our own lived experience. It is truly yours and your own unique way of experience reality. If coral convergence happens, who knows what humanity even is afterwards? What's even left of humanity, or the human spirit and mind at that point? On the other hand, it is a species we are talking about. And do they not have the same right to existence as us? And with how Coral behaves in the game, the convergence seems to be inevitable. At which point are we not resisting nature and the natural advance of evolution? Evolution brought us to where we are now. Why would we then go and deny its next step? If losing our collective consciousness as humans is a price to pay for an elevated existence, maybe we should not resist that change. If Coral truly is as long-living and far-reaching, would that not also immortalize humanity as well? Should we not become one with those waveforms then? Even though the ending here is unclear, that is exactly what the next step in human evolution would feel like. It's a void, it's an unknown. We can either choose to be afraid and stay, or take the next step in the ladder. Both ideologies are very well represented in the game, and I like the ambiguity of these endings. It is not clear if Coral, for example, will return, even though it was burned twice. Again, convergence might be inevitable. Who says that there are no other planets that can develop coral life forms? In the Liberation of Rubicon ending, we are basically at the status quo. The vascular plant is still there and it's not blown up, so coral convergence can still happen, or the PCA and the Corpus can still decide to use the vascular plant and come back as second round. Or we can still blow the vascular plant up in this ending. And if the Liberation Front continues with the coral consumptions and the defense the planet, convergence is basically guaranteed in this ending as well. And the true ending is basically the admittance and acceptance of shared human and coral potential. Even though it is two considerably small entities who make the decision, us, a human, and a waveform mutation, we took that step for all of humanity. A slight bit arrogant and egotistical if you ask me, but one person has to take the first step eventually, or we might forever be stuck on the brink, never passing the Rubicon, so to say. All the endings make you think long after they're over with. And this is why I love this game so much. The story really sticks with you. The morals, the quandaries, the still open questions, and the phenomenal character writing, in addition to the acting, the music, the sound design. It all comes together to make a true masterpiece of a game. One that, in my opinion, outshines the likes of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden Ring, Demon's Souls. And that is why Armored Core is my favorite From Software game. I hope that one day we get another entry, a sort of spiritual successor, a continuation of the Armored Core series with a brand new location and story. And I think that is another great advantage of Armored Core. All games have finished and isolated stories that don't interfere with each other. So that way these games escape the never-ending sequelitis and the remake slop cycle. I hope you can give this one a try too, with or without the first-person mod. And with that, I'm done here. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time.